It's very spiritual. I love coming to Mexico City because it's so, I don't know, there's such a feeling of, and like I said, I grew up in Los Angeles where the sort of Day of the Dead and the sort of Mexican art and the characters and things had a major impact on me. You know, I really felt like that the art and the sort of creativity is inspiring here, so that's why I love coming here.
It's kind of weird because Mexico inspires you, but I feel like at the same time you sort of inspire a lot of things here that you don't know about.
Well, I don't know, but I just, like I said, for me, I even when I was a child, you know, I felt the culture, you know, and I felt all those things that I really like, you know, because like in America, death is a very sort of rigid kind of don't speak about it kind of dark sort of connotation, where here, all the skeletons and the color and everything, and that to me was more how I felt about things.
Well, we have one last question here to sum up this topic. Your stories are obviously famous for giving shelter to people who do not feel like they fit in anything or in very little things. And I wanted to ask you, since you started working and since you became an artist, do you remember when was the first moment someone maybe came up to you and told you, thank you for helping me?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't remember the first time, but I do remember because, you know, I had that, you know, when I did my first little short film, I did a little story and I sent it to Vincent Price, and just out of the blue, I didn't know, you know, I was just a student, and he wrote me back, and it was so beautiful. He said he understood what the story was about, and he got it, and he then was very supportive and narrated it. So, you know, those moments where somebody sees you and helps you, or you can do that for somebody else, is a very beautiful experience.
We thank you for that. I think I speak on behalf of everyone. When we're feeling down, when we feel like we don't fit in, when we're scared of doing things, we just go to your films and your stories.
But everybody can do something, you know. Each one of us has something inside that can be, you know, your own thing.
But you are you. Just let
And
me
you're
tell you
you.
that.
Sounds like a self-help combination.
That's true. That is true. Should we hug like a group hug?
Beautiful.
You guys are all beautiful. I love that. So let's move on to the next topic, which is your filmography and your filming techniques and your filming style. I know some of your first steps in cinema were as an animator and also as an art director. So how did that shape you into the director and storyteller you are today?
Well, having an animation background I thought was actually quite good, because, you know, like when I went to Cal Arts in school, you had to do a piece of animation, but then you had to shoot it, you had to design it, edit it, film it. So it was kind of weirdly the full filmmaking package, even though it was animation. And with animation, you know, composition is important. And so I felt, you know, I never had like live action film training, but I felt the animation training was very strong in terms of just basic filmmaking techniques.
And you already talked about a little bit about your days at Disney, but we have a question here from Luis Velodi. ¿Estás aquí? No? Allá. Blue hair. Luis quiere saber, he wants to know if you could give a Burton-style remake to a Disney movie. That's obviously not the ones you have already done.
No, I'm done, sorry.
Are you? Talk us through that experience.
The Magic Kingdom has kicked me out finally. Finally!
I'm not sure about that.
You know, I've been hired and fired so many times by Disney, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Does it not surprise you anymore?
No.
You know I'll be back.
No. It's like, yeah. But it's okay. You know, I'm at peace with it. Don't worry.
I love that. And you know, throughout your career, and now talking about this, besides your original stories, you also got to make one of our most beloved superhero films, which is obviously the Batman films. I wanted to ask you, what did making this film taught you about filmmaking and also the industry? Because I feel it's entirely different to make something like that.
Well, no, I mean, I felt it was interesting because Batman, at the time, they didn't make any kind of movies, you know, so I felt kind of special being the first time to make a movie, like a superhero movie, in a certain kind of way with a little bit more darkness, a bit more psychology to it, and you know, so I felt when we were making it, felt new at the time, which was, it's always exciting, you know. Now, I mean, there's so many superhero films that kind of follow a certain kind of similarity, even though they're all different, but it was exciting to be there at the time feeling like it was something new.
Would you put your hands into another superhero film nowadays?
I don't. There's so many of them. I mean, I think look, I think you can do any kind of thing. Superheroes are just another genre. I think you can be anything. But I don't see it at the moment.
I think I have to ask if we should keep going with this rain.
Yeah.
Sí, seguimos aquí. Do you want an
It's
umbrella?
refreshing. Yeah, I'm all right.
I think we're gonna-
If they can sit it, if they can take it, I can take it.
Yo estoy bien.
It's all right.
I'm alright. She's suggesting that we
haven't had a
step into a.
No, I haven't had a shower in a couple of days. So.
That's perfect for us then. Okay, so should we stay here? We do what you want to do. ¿Ustedes están bien? ¿Seguimos aquí? ¿Lo seguimos dando todo? Perfecto, me encanta. Muy bien. Me encanta. Mariana Alejandra García, ¿estás aquí? Ah, okay, muy bien. She wants to know what is the best memory you have actually with Michael Keaton, whether it was on the Batman set or any of the Beetlejuice.
Well, no, I mean, Michael was much more fun as Beetlejuice. The Batman costume, he was not, because Michael's like, he likes to move around, and so I think he felt kind of trapped in the Batman costume a little bit. But you know, it was fun about Beetlejuice. I mean, I love working with him, but strangely, seeing him again in the latest Beetlejuice was just so strange because he really didn't seem to change much. This was like 35 years ago, you know. So it was quite a special movie to see, like, some of the cast, Winona and Michael back, and that was very emotional for me. So, and it was like we never stopped doing it, you know. He just picked up the character again and made up things again like we did back in 1988, and so it was like really kind of a special moment this time.
I still find very funny that when he was in Mexico with you last time for Beetlejuice, he was like, my actual experience near death was that Tim Burton brought me back to life in this character.
Well, no, but it was kind of scary. I mean, he just came on the set. We didn't do a bunch of rehearsal. He came back on, he put the and it was like he was like possessed by a demon. He truly was like possessed.
And talking about unexpected characters, what do you consider to be your riskiest project so far?
I don't know.
You don't mind?
I think they're all, you know, they all can, you know, I don't think there's anything you go, oh, this is going to be this is going to be a hit, or this is going to be something. I think each one has a different vibe to it, and I mean, I'm always surprised whether it's a success or failure, because you never know.
So you're never expecting that, like when you tell a story, you tell it because you want to tell it.
Oh yeah, exactly. And so even if it's something that's based on something else, I find something in it that means something to me at that time. That's why people go, oh, do you ever regret a movie? I go like, no, because I did it for whatever reasons. And so, you know, whether it's good or bad or whatever, I feel like, you know, it was something about it meant something to me at the time. So
Of course.
that's the most important.
I think they're trying to tell me something. No sé qué está pasando. ¿Alguien me quería decir algo de un paraguas o algo así? Pues,
Yo traigo uno.
okay. You don't need an umbrella. I don't need an umbrella. You are Tim Burton. No. No, pero no. Hay otro. Are you sure you don't want an umbrella? Are you like, do you realize that if you don't want an umbrella, I'm not allowed to want an umbrella? No. Me parece que yo no debería tener una tampoco. It's either both of us or none of us. Okay. Entonces si quieren. I totally agree. Muy bien. Bueno, Excelsior. Do you realize this makes it even more dark? Like it looks darker. Everything
Yeah,
is
it's
darker.
good. I mean, I'm happy if you guys are all right.
It's as if we were like at a funeral somehow.
It is.
In a rainy day.
Thank you for all coming to my funeral.
No, we don't want to do that anytime soon. We have a question from an outlet, Excelsior. They want to know, you're a filmmaker widely recognized for your distinctive style, and when watching certain movies, it's easy to tell they're yours. However, films like Big Eyes stand completely apart from what we've come to expect from you. What place does this film hold in your creative universe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of an experiment to me because I've done so many big studio movies. I just tried to do something, because I knew this artist, and the story was so weird to me as a real thing that I just sort of decided to just do kind of a simple, low budget, non-studio film.
Okay, so before moving on to the exhibition, because that's what we're here for, I would like to ask you this because I feel like everyone says like this is very Tim Burton style, but what do you understand like that? Like when people refer to what you do?
I don't think about it. I truly don't, because
It's just
I
you.
always feel like, as a human, as a person, you don't want to overanalyze yourself and become like something, like I'm doing this because this is what is expect or whatever. I think, for any artist, you're best to just do what you do and just whatever, people relate to it or they don't relate to it. So I always, especially in like Hollywood, I always tried to resist that kind of categorization, because I didn't like it as a child when people go, you're good at sports, you're not good at, or you're good, you're talented, you're not talented. I always from a very early age tried to resist those kind of sort of categorization of people, because everybody has their own individuality, everybody's different, and that to me is something that's important to me.
Definitely, and I think what sums it up is that you're authentic. That's all that matters. You are who you are. I think that's
Well,
it.
and everybody is, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. So
So,
the more of that, the better.
I will move on to our third part of this masterclass because I feel people will die of the flu in here. No importa nada? Okay. So let's move on to the exhibition, which is what brought you here, Tim Burton's Labyrinth. Is that the name in English?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. So can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to find in this exhibition? How did you choose the pieces?
Well, as I was saying, the team that suggested this to me, what I liked about it is I've had art shows. I've had, like MoMA, and had an amazing show at like MoMA in New York and all places, and just had one in London. But this one was different because it, like I said earlier, it sort of represent the creative process for me. You kind of are sitting in a room, you make a drawing, it may turn into something else, and all these little rooms kind of are like fragments of your mind. They're kind of like, okay, this room, this just was a drawing, this turned into a character, this turned into an animation, this turned into a live action, this didn't turn into anything, and oftentimes when I'd be sitting there drawing, I would think of things moving, and so we sort of added like little animations and things. So for me, it represents, in a strange kind of fun house art show, funhouse kind of way, the process for me.
I'm actually curious about this. Do you have a background story for every character you draw, or some of them are just drawings?
Yeah, no, but they have little backstories. I mean, they're not necessarily huge backstories, but yeah, no, I like to, they feel like your children, they feel like your things, so yeah, I always had a little private story for each thing.
Can I be a